All right, let's jump right in. Today, we're going to talk about a tiny video clip that has, for some reason, completely mesmerized millions of people. It's the story of a single penguin and its very strange journey to the end of the world. We're kicking things off with this quote from the philosopher Nietzsche. And why? Well, because it honestly just nails the huge, profound questions this one little penguin's journey forces us to ask about meaning, about purpose, and about chasing the impossible.
So here he is, our hero, just a lone penguin standing against this brutal, vast, empty landscape in Antarctica. He's an individual who, as we'll see, makes a choice that defies all logic. I mean, all of it.
And that's really the big question here, isn't it? What is it about this one animal's little walk, filmed almost 20 years ago, that hit such a deep, powerful nerve with so many of us today?
Okay, so to really get this, we gotta go back to where this all started. We need to look at the source of this whole viral thing. And we need to talk about a fascinating concept the French call l'appel du vide, literally the call of the void.
So get this. The whole thing comes from this tiny 1-minute clip in a Werner Herzog documentary. And in it, we see a single penguin just break away from the safety of this colony. It ignores other penguins, it won't take any food, and it just starts heading, dead set, towards a distant mountain range. A journey that's 5,000 kilometers away into what Herzog's narration just calls certain death.
And that right there, that's the call of the void in a nutshell. You know that feeling? That weird, totally illogical impulse to do something risky, to jump or to swerve, to chase something you can't even describe, just for the sake of chasing it. That's what this is.
But here's the thing. This isn't just some random penguin acting weird. Through the camera lens, it's presented as something so much bigger. It becomes this kind of romantic hero.
And this is absolutely crucial to understand. We're not just reacting to a penguin walking. We're reacting to the story that Werner Herzog is telling us about the penguin. His voiceover, the way he frames the shots, it all transforms this simple act of nature into this grand, heroic, existential symbol of independence.
You know, the setting here is a huge part of the story. Antarctica isn't just a cold backdrop. It's a super powerful artistic symbol. For centuries, artists and writers have used these huge, empty, frozen landscapes to explore ideas of poetic isolation and even spiritual transcendence.
And it's not even a subtle connection. Herzog, who's a German filmmaker, is basically giving a huge shout-out to the German romantic painter Caspar David Friedrich. The mountains the penguin is running towards, they're a direct visual echo of the ones in that iconic painting, Wanderer Above the Sea of Fog.
So what are these mountains really all about? They're not just rocks and ice, right? In this artistic tradition, they represent something called the sublime, that powerful, overwhelming feeling of both beauty and terror. They stand for truth, for infinity, a goal so important it's worth chasing no matter the cost.
Okay, and this is where we get to the really deep, philosophical heart of the story. It's a concept that a lot of people have connected to this penguin, nihilism, and the incredible courage it takes to decide to create your own meaning.
So let's break nihilism down real simple. Nietzsche was basically saying, hey, you know all those old, reliable sources of meaning we used to count on, like God or society's rules? Well, they're kind of falling apart. And that leaves this big, empty void. The question is, what do you do when you're staring into it?
Well, according to this idea, that void leads to two very different paths. You've got passive nihilism, which is basically giving up. You stay with the colony because, hey, nothing matters anyway. But then there's active nihilism. And that's the complete opposite. It's realizing that if life has no built-in meaning, then you're totally free to create your own. It's having the courage to leave the herd and run straight into the void.
And this is so important to get. This penguin's journey isn't about giving up or being suicidal. No, it's about refusing to live a passive, pointless life. It's about choosing to dive headfirst into the great unknown to forge its own purpose. You know, there's this one moment in the clip that just gets me every time. The penguin briefly looks back at the colony. It's like it knows the suffering that's coming, but it chooses it anyway. And in that choice, it becomes this amazing inspiration, a symbol that maybe, just maybe, we can break away from our own herds too. So, okay, why this story? And why now? Why is it going so viral? I think it's because it's become this kind of modern parable, one that reflects some of our deepest anxieties and hopes right now.
Well, I think there are a few reasons.
For one, it hits on this deep desire we all have to just not conform, in a world that feels so controlled. It's also become a powerful symbol of the alienation so many of us have felt, especially since the pandemic. And maybe most importantly, it taps into this sort of new romanticism, this turn away from cold, hard logic and a search for real, authentic feeling and personal experience.
All right, let's try to pull all these threads together. What's the ultimate meaning we can take away from this little penguin's journey? It's really about finding purpose, not in getting to the destination, but in the incredible beauty of the pursuit itself.
You see, this whole journey is about two things at once. It's not just what the penguin is running from, that passive, go-with-the-flow meaninglessness of the colony. It's also about what it's running towards, that sublime, beautiful, spiritual truth that those dangerous mountains represent.
So the big idea here is that he's both. He's not just one thing. The penguin is a nihilist in the way he rejects the old, established way of doing things, and he's a romantic, and his passionate, faithful chase of a new ideal that he created for himself. And maybe that's the whole point. Beauty, spiritual truth, a purpose that you define for yourself. These are things that are absolutely worth pursuing, worth fighting for, even when the odds are impossible. Even if you're just a little penguin at the end of the world.
Which really just leaves one last question for all of us to think about, doesn't it? When you look at your own life, your own colony, your own horizon, what mountains are you running towards?